Okay guys, we're back here, backyard DIY again, and we have a 13 Honda Civic. This is a hybrid model with a 1.5 liter engine. So there's the hybrid. So we're doing a oil change on this today. So I'm not sure if there's a better spot or not, but the only spot I could find to jack it up, all of these plastic panels underneath of it, was right in the center, right in the front. Right here on this steel bar. So it looked like it was going to be okay for me to use that bar, and I did, just to get it up, the car up. And then I have the jack stands so I can get underneath the car on the tow hooks. Because everything underneath this car is plastic. So first step, obviously jack it up, and then you have to remove the access panel to get to the oil filter. So it's just a Phillips head screwdriver, and there is, I think, like 7 or 8 of these. It's way easier to take it out, take those screws out, than it is to put that panel back in. It has clips and locking spots. It is a pain to get it in or out. Okay, all the screws are out. There's a little tab to pull, and then it plops out. And you just wiggle it out. There's your panel. Put all the bolts on top of it, so don't worry about losing them. And then this is what it looks like with your panels on. You see straight underneath the motor, power steering, transmission for the electric transmission, and the gas. Don't ask me how to get into that. And there's the gasoline engine oil filter right there. So that's the next step. Okay, so the oil filter is tiny. It runs on 0.20 oil, I believe, maybe 0.30. It's on your oil fill cap, 0.20. So I'm going with mobile for the filter, and in 0.20 it's full synthetic automatically, and it's high mileage, even though this car doesn't have high mileage. But that's what we're going to use. So first step, going to drain the oil out of the pan into this catch pan. Find a spot I can prop the phone up at. There's the oil. It says right on the bottom of the pan, engine oil. And has an arrow pointing to the plug. So, it's pretty helpful. Plug out, and now it's just dripping. There we go. So that's all empty, and I just broke the oil filter loose. I had to buy this little claw deal here at Walmart because I didn't have a small enough filter wrench. This is an extremely small filter. So it worked pretty good. It was only, I think, like $4 or $5, so it's worth it. So got that loose. Now I'm going to remove that. I'm going to continue to let the engine oil drip out of the drain plug while I wait for this to empty as well. I can't really get a good angle on that, but other than right through there. So I'm going to pause the video, just let this drain out, and then we'll go from there. All the fluid drained out of the filter, and I removed it. The biggest thing I can tell you about an oil change, and you will you will destroy your motor, is make sure that you have the gasket on this filter when you remove it. Sometimes it sticks to the engine, and if you put that new filter on with that gasket still stuck to the engine, it'll have two gaskets and it'll leak, and if you're not paying attention, there goes all your fluid on the ground. So just make sure 100% that gasket, that rubber O-ring, is on the old filter, and then you clean the surface of where the new filter will rest. Like I said, I got the mobile one. And another important tip, and it says in your manual, well, who reads those anyways, but you take a dab of oil, new, old, doesn't matter, and you run it around this gasket. If you don't do that, it can kink up because it's dry, and it won't seal and sit like it's supposed to. So just remember, you always do that as well. Now I used a filter wrench to remove it, but you never want to use a wrench to put it back on. It's hand tight only. If your car doesn't have a maintenance reminder, what I always do before I even get to this point is I take a paint pen and I will write the mileage on the back of the filter before it gets greasy. I don't write the mileage that I did it at, I write the mileage that I want to do it at. So this car has a maintenance reminder, so I don't need to worry about that. There we go. Now we're going to put that back in. Make sure you clean that off. Clean your threads, especially if you drop it. every car is going to be different. Mine just so happens to be an 11/16 for that nut, so, or bolt. And after the oil's all been drained, there is the oil I'm using, Mobil 1 0W20. Told you I wasn't lying. You guys thought I was lying. So the oil goes here to the left of the main area, on the left side of the motor, which would be the passenger side, if you want to say it that way. The oil weight is right on the fill cap. So I've already filled it to just a little bit below full. What you have to do is you have to run the engine, because you just put basically an empty cup, meaning the filter, on the bottom. And if you fill it without running it and you go about your life, it will actually be low because it has to fill that filter. So we're going to show you here where it's at, if this will pick it up. There we go. Shows it just a little bit below full. So that's good enough. And I'm going to make sure the cap is tight and remove the fresh oil cap, remove the fresh oil that still has oil in it, and going to get into the car, start it up and run it for a second. Now if your car has a actual oil pressure gauge, it'll show low for probably 10-15 seconds or so. So that's perfectly normal. It's supposed to. And that's until everything that you've just drained gets its oil back into it. So we'll go ahead and start it. Look at those Christmas tree lights. And there's the service due light. Hold on, it'll come back on. There we go, service due A1. I'll show you what it means by A1 in a second if you don't have this car. So we're going to start it here. And that's good enough. Shut it off, and now we're going to check the oil, see how much it dropped. And then of course fill it all the way to the top this time.